Thank you so much for joining me, Montell.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So lovely to meet you in person. I feel as if like I've watched so many interviews and seen so many performances. It's going to be really good to be able to like delve into your brain a bit more because you're obviously a very thoughtful person. I wanted to start off where it began for you in Pennsylvania. Tell me about life there growing up. I have no point of reference. So I feel like that's for a lot of like listeners in Australia. That would be the same for them. What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what we call the Midwest, but I'm from a city called Pittsburgh, which is one of the more main cities, I guess. The way I grew up, I mean, I have like 6 siblings.
Yeah.
And so I have my mom and my dad, they kind of split when I was really young. And so I was growing up kind of going to both my mom's house and then my dad's house on the weekends. And they both have different music styles. And my mom's house was more like gospel music and like R&B music. And my dad's house was more like rap. And it was still like R&B and stuff like that, but he loved rap. And so I feel like I always like got both sonic like experiences like between both of my parents, and I feel like I can capture like both of them a lot in a way. So yeah,
definitely like in the combination of who you are creatively across these 2 projects more recently, I can see how that's trickled into your world again. And I want to know about your move to New York. Like everyone knows it's like the pinnacle of creativity, the place that you go to if you want to be like a cool, amazing artist, probably on like the grittier side. But what was your personal moment where you're like, damn, this resonates with me, like I need to be here to get to that next place creatively?
I would say like around 2020 and maybe from the years like 2016 to 2020, I was making pretty religious and pretty Christian music at the time. And it was getting like bigger in that space. And I was just kind of figuring out a lot in my life. I was living in Pittsburgh and then I was kind of living in California. And I just felt like I struggled a lot with the Christian music because I felt somewhat boxed in, especially with some of the concepts that I just wanted to write about. And I mean, even I was talking about at the show last night, like the Jamie project, it wasn't like necessarily received well by Christians, and it's like it's under Christian.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of like weird backlash just because it was such a different project. But I love that project. I love like Lauryn Hill's like Miseducation, and I feel like she incorporates like the divine and in her work in such a beautiful way, and I hope that people would like see it in that way. But anyways, yeah, I moved to New York to kind of like break out of a lot of the past and try to figure out my own way with music. And then that's when I started like the Jamie project in 2021, and I was just releasing a bunch of stuff like kind of on TikTok, and I released Talk to Me, which was like one of the first singles for the project, and I think it was the first song that I ever put on TikTok. And then yeah, it just seemed like people were resonating with it, and all like my little like sad fans were like starting to form. Not my sad fans, but just like my emotional little fans. And yeah, in 2021 I feel like was the start of like a new chapter in my life. So
I really love the reflection that you have in the interview series that you did with like Lil Yachty and Daniel Caesar and Omar Apollo. Like I was watching those interviews because I thought not many artists are very open, first of all, about sort of intense feelings that they have necessarily, but the openness you had in those conversations, particularly around the religious stuff. I grew up Catholic, so I understand the guilt element that comes through. Yeah, I think it was really interesting to hear about how you had combined like stylistically and musically pairing together your relationships at a certain time and your relationship with religion. Can you talk to me more about like thinking that was even something you could do and why you felt like you needed to do it in that way instead of it being a fully formed like relationship record?
I love layers. I love when you can listen to a project 20 times and then you get something else out of it. And I love songs that have like, you think it's about something, but it's really about something else. Like, I love that about music. Like, I just love like journeying into it like that. And yeah, I think Lauryn Hill, like Miseducation was really cool. There's so many artists though that I think use like symbology and like messaging to convey something. Like when I was writing Hotel, it wasn't necessarily like about meeting a girl at a hotel or anything that specific. Like it was just like that feeling of like going back to something or going back to someone that you can't like, you feel just like so completely like drawn to them. So I love art that kind of has like multiple layers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think something I often have, because I do this show called Soul Control, and sometimes like there'll just be gospel tracks that I'll remember from like going to church or certain artists, and I'm like, damn, there's nothing that can top the intensity that comes through writing in that form.
Oh yeah, it's like it's beyond like the brain, you know.
Yeah. I feel like Destroy Myself Just For You is one of those moments where I'm just like listening to it from the outside. I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially in their like early 20s or like first relationships. That ability to be like, I will do anything. Like, I feel like I need to just cop this and continue and push through, because that's what relationships are. Like, how did you reset your headspace? It seems like you've done a lot of like spiritual discovery and philosophy. Like, I feel like I read something about you doing like Taoism or something as well. Like, you really delved deep to unpack that. But like, how did you change the way that you thought about relationships and how you were putting yourself in them?
I mean, I've definitely been on my own journey. Yeah, I guess with like all things divine and psychological and philosophical. But yeah, Destroy Myself For You, and I know you mentioned the Yachty interview. That was like the first song that he heard that he really liked by me. And the cool thing about that interview, it was all kind of like within the Charlotte era, which was my last album. And I thought Yachty was really cool because he was kind of doing this like rebrand in his own way, and he was starting this like alternative music. And I felt like each interview I was kind of able to learn something from like each of the artists and almost like learn and just like become a student. Because I mean, I think artists are amazing. I think people that aren't afraid to evolve are really cool. But Destroy Myself For You, yeah, that was like around that 2021, that Jamie project. And it was another song that kind of like was symbolic of like so many scriptures that talk about sacrifice and talk about laying down your life for someone and kind of giving them your all, and so many scriptures that kind of like, you know, refer to Christ as the one that should be doing that. And so Destroy Myself For You was kind of my take on trying to become a little bit of God for someone. You know, you think you can save someone, or maybe like they're hurting you and you just need to break away. And I was probably like misunderstanding some scriptures as well and trying to like love someone longer than I should have. But yeah, I've definitely like grown out of a lot of that. I think with Charlotte, with my last album, I was kind of, I hate the word deconstructing because it has like such a bad stigmatism, but I was definitely like, why do I believe this? And is there like real truth? Is it a fully like thought that like has like, this makes sense because of this, or is it just you have to believe this because that's the way it is? And so I just asked myself a bunch of like, why do I believe this questions? And I feel like I took with me the things that I want to take, and I left like a lot of the stuff that I don't.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because yeah, I feel like you can really feel you're going through it, and people listening to it resonate with that part. And you often talk about fame, in that more recent record, Charlotte, which I found you can hear like the breaking down of the construct of like it being a negative thing necessarily. And you've spoken about it before, where it's just like, throw all caution to the wind. Like, my life is existing right here and now. It's not like I'm trying to get to the next stage, like getting to heaven and trying to hope that it's going to be there for me. Right. I guess doing that, you have had a lot of intense experiences with like fans. Yes. I look through your comments still and I'm like, damn, what the hell is going on?
Like, honestly, you know, shout out to them.
Yeah, they're doing it for you, like with good intention.
I wish I had that drive. Yeah. I'm like, yo, y'all got it.
Yeah. I wanted to find out from you, like, how you push through that, because it's like right there, you know, like constantly having that conversation with yourself. But how are you like more settled off the back of that Charlotte record?
I mean, it would be funny to just like respond to every comment and just be like, and just roast everyone. But I mean, I try to just respond back through my art. And I mean, I think they kind of are like wanting and expecting me and like telling me to do this one thing. And I hope that I'm a symbol to like, you know, any other people that are maybe trying to leave that space, that you can live your life. You know, life is short and you don't want to spend it listening to not your soul. Like you want to spend it listening to your soul. You never know when you're going to go. So I just respond by like trying to be me, and hopefully there's a chain effect and energy shift within the world and people stop giving a fuck about it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still love them. There's a lot of care, but I think I have so much pain just with how I viewed myself and how I viewed certain friends like that were not straight. And I just had so many things that just didn't make sense, and I believed them just because I believed them. And it just left me like in a really messy place. So the music is my escape for sure.
I really love how you are keen to create full worlds around your music, like from the live performance to the like deer motif to the dark, like eerie, moody stuff that you put together in the visuals. I wanted to find out how you get that together, where that comes from. Is there like other pieces of art or artists that have really inspired that that interpretation of your creativity?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first concert was Childish Gambino. I was probably like 14 or something like that. And I think my second one was Tyler, the Creator.
Damn. Okay.
So those, especially when it comes to world building, I think they're geniuses. And Gambino, yeah, specifically like my middle school, high school years, that was like the guy, you know? And just watching his like Because the Internet roll out and just seeing him like make separate Instagram accounts and make like a screenplay that you should read for the album, and then these little clips, and then like the tour that feels like the album, and like the colors that all match. And the same with Tyler, like just full expression, people that just love to express themselves and to kind of make it not even more than the music, because the music is amazing, but it's more just, I don't know, I think it's just like a new breed of person. I love people like that, and they inspired me to, especially Tyler, to produce all my stuff myself, because I just became like so enamored by people that were able to like have their brain and just give it to you. And like there wasn't a lot of separation of like a producer telling you to change that snare because it sounds weird. You know, it's like someone just trusting their weird ideas.
Talking about other projects, you've got DJ Gummy Bear. Tell me about like why you needed to have this sort of offshoot in order to express yourself that way.
I mean, I think going back to like the Charlotte album thing, I was like studying duality, and I had released like Jamie and Her Love Still Haunts Me Like a Ghost, those two projects within the same year, just because I just love contrast. I love like completely acoustic and then like crazy distorted stuff like that. And I think DJ Gummy Bear is just another it's like a fourth contrast. My brain is too messy. I want to add more of a separation, I think, this year of like between Montell and DJ Gummy. And
what would that be like?
I really want DJ Gummy to be like house shows and like electronic shows, and like booked at electronic festivals and stuff like that. And the Montell stuff, I love like just airy, ambient, not even peaceful, but just, I don't know, like just different stuff. Maybe stuff that you wouldn't just be like.
For sure. I think for a lot of people, the surprising part about you, like you said, sonically, quite gentle and tender, like when it comes to your Montell Fish stuff. But then in a live show, being so angsty and like encouraging people to mosh.
I know we love this sad shit, but just like open it up right here and we're gonna get that shit going, okay?
Why does it need to be that? Like, where does that like come from within you?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because it's not what I expected at all.
No one really does.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love contrast. I think it represents life pretty honestly. Yeah, sometimes you feel really sad and sometimes you feel really angry. And when I started the Jamie project specifically, I kind of was writing within the scope of like the process of grief. And so Jamie, the first project of the trilogy, was like denial and isolation. And it was kind of, if you think about it in like a religious way, it's kind of like, talk to me, like, God, where are you? Why you don't talk to me? Like, you're in this place of just like feeling far away. And same with a relationship, you're kind of just like, you know, why aren't things the same? But you kind of know why things aren't the same. So denial and isolation, especially like sonically too, I just wanted to keep it like acoustic guitars. And it was a reset for me too, just because I was coming from the Christian stuff. So I felt like acoustic was just an honest way to present myself to like a new audience, if it made it that far. I mean, and then I started, I was into rap like as a kid. So rap was like my foundation. And even in so many of my records, I mean, like in Talk to Me and Fall in Love with You, it's a sampled guitar. It's like, I mean, it's me playing it, but it's a loop. Like the way, there's like so much just like rap and lo-fi like aesthetic within my work. So I feel like it's kind of there if you pay attention.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to like some of my beats, I feel like you can kind of tell that I loved like old Kanye, and I loved like, right now I'm into like Death Grips. I love Prince. I love producing and I love music so much. And I feel like if you're a producer specifically, you're always getting into different genres and you're kind of like always like trying to find new sounds. So to me, it's not as odd to like to have a different side because I just love music so much. But I guess for some people, it's like, whoa, I didn't know that. But my favorite artists are like that. Gambino like did so many switches in his career. Sorry to talk about him so much. But.
No, that's okay. I feel like everyone relates to that.
Yeah.
You worked with Jacob Portrait on this, which is sort of lovely. When I heard that, I was like, this makes a lot of sense with the sort of like energy that you had in the production and roundness of it. And for people who are like not aware, he's from Unknown Mortal Orchestra, and he also worked on Lil Yachty's like really interesting record.
Exactly.
Let's start here.
Yeah.
Tell me about meeting and why that felt like it was a good connection. Like I can see the parallels, but what was more personally right for you there?
I mean, I love them. UMO is amazing. I mean, really with Jacob though, it was my first time working with someone, and so we had met in New York, and I kind of just went over his house. Of course, I knew his work from just working with UMO and of course with the Yachty stuff. And I was just kind of playing him stuff. I was just sussing out the vibe, just because it's sometimes hard to work with producers.
100%. First time as well.
Yeah, but he's kind of like me, and he kind of takes things home and he works on them alone, and then we kind of bring it back to each other and see how we feel about it. So it ended up working really well. Like I love kind of what he added to it.
What parts did he add to it, do you think? When you listen back, you're like, oh, thank goodness, that's the color he brought.
I mean, so basically I had demos that were kind of like 60%, 50% done. So like Who Did You Touch? It's so much more polished. Like it's so like, if you listen to it, it just feels like a polished track.
I love that track. I wrote it down and I was like, I don't know. For me, it felt like a Lead Belly track. I don't know if you like had that reference in mind, but like Where Did You Sleep Last Night sort of.
Definitely that vibe for sure.
So what was the story behind that track?
I mean, that one, it was 2022 when I first started writing that one. I was in Paris and I was kind of like just enamored by the first vibes of like Paris, you know, like going out and like just like meeting people and stuff like that. And so it was kind of like the Her Love Still Haunts Me Like a Ghost project was in a weird way the start of like the Charlotte era. But so Who Did You Touch kind of came about like if you hear it, it's kind of like a similar guitar tone to the Hotel stuff and like all that stuff. But I was kind of going out to a few clubs, so I was getting into the dance music, and the DJ Gummy Bear character was kind of like starting to arrive. It also has like, I mean, the first line in it is "Depart from me, you always seem to keep on haunting me, and then you making me think you're wanting me." So it goes back to my love for like double layer writing, and "Depart from me" is like a Bible verse that I'm like terrified of, because it just talks about like being cast away into hell forever. So it was like about conquering your fears in a way, you know, putting some of this stuff like to light. And then Jake just polished it. Like he added some keys. Like I did the main guitar. I came up with the 4 on the floor drums. Of course, wrote everything. I think we changed the verse. He added keys. He like, of course, made the kick stronger. Just like real producer stuff. And, you know, and of course he just adds his own steez to it too. The same with like Is It a Crime? Like that track, it just feels like sonically like so big and just so like cinematic, I feel like. So he brought the better parts of me out, you know, and I think he did it in a good way.
And as we look into the future, are there some other things that you're working on at the moment? Is there something that you're keen to try that you've got on like the goal list or the mood board?
We're rapping this year.
Okay. We're preparing people for that. Sick.
We're gonna get them ready, and we're gonna get the mosh pits going. And I'm in my villain era, so.
Interesting.
No, I definitely, no. I mean, I usually like after a long day of like making ridiculously sad music, I just want to like freestyle and like not think about like anything. So then I just make raps, but I like also make beats and they're fire. So I'm like, I should just put this out.
Will it be in another project name or will it be Gummy Bear?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, feeling it out.
Yeah, I'm just feeling it out. But I think DJ Gummy Bear, he's like a spirit of experimentation. Like he's like a symbol. So
To
I feel like
capture that.
it feels good to have like some of that stuff on his profile for right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, exciting. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Montell.
Thank you. This was great. I appreciate it.